We're going to go ahead and get started, and today's program is all about getting started with SMS. So we're going to cover some of the basics. Myself, I'm your host and moderator today. So my name is Greg Zackwitz. I'm a senior e-commerce expert here at Omnisend. I enjoy being with Omnisend. Been here almost 5 years, hit 5-year anniversary in just a couple weeks here. So I'm super excited about it. Overall, I've been in the email and SMS world for almost 20 years, which is crazy to think about. SMS has really come full-fledged in the last 5-6 years, maybe. So I'm excited to talk to you about helping you get started, helping you see if you're not using it, to try to figure out, is it right for you? And we'll talk through some of those things. If you are using it, maybe we'll look for some new ideas, optimization techniques, things like that. A couple of things to kind of go through beforehand. We are recording the webinar. Everyone's going to ask. Yes, we are recording it. We'll send it out to all attendees. And then if you've missed it, you'll be watching this and figuring out they did send it to me, but we'll be sending it to you within a day or two. It'll also be posted on Omnisend's YouTube channel. So feel free to bounce over there, check out our YouTube channel. Got tons of videos, past webinars there as well. If you have questions, we've got a couple Omnisend folks backstage answering questions, moderating the chat, things like this. So we have the chat functionality. Then if you look at your toolbar, you'll also have a Q&A functionality. So if you can, please, any questions you have, throw them in the Q&A tab. Anything that's maybe technical related, our staff will help you out with. Of course, we always have 24/7 live support as well. Anything that's left over that can't be answered, we'll save for the Q&A portion at the end, and hopefully I'll be able to answer it for you as well. So please use the Q&A tab, but feel free to be lively in the chat as well. So comment and have a good time. What we're going to cover today, I'll do my best. We'll cover just very briefly some 2024 SMS trends and just a slide or two about email in there as well, because they do relate to the SMS as well. Omnisend, if you haven't checked it out, just yesterday we launched our yearly 2024 stats report. So you can find that. It's not gated on our website. Just click the report section and we'll break down some SMS web push messages and email marketing trends there. We'll talk about growing your list. So some of those essentials for starting your list growth or optimizing your list growth. Talk about a few campaign ideas, examples, maybe ways to reuse content. So SMS can be pretty easy to create campaigns, and then how to do it in Omnisend. So I'm going to jump into to an Omnisend account for a couple minutes and just kind of walk through pop-ups, creating an SMS message, and then ways you can play around with it in the workflow canvas as well, because automations will be, if you do nothing else, automations are a great way to really get started using SMS here. So let's start by talking about 2024 recap and just a couple slides here about some of those basic things and some of the most important things. And I'm going to start with email because I think it's important to note how email is interacting with consumer behavior here. So you can see just some metrics here year over year. What I really want to focus on are open rates and click to conversion rates. So we continue to see open rates increase. Last year, we're almost at 27% across the board for open rates. And what this tells me is SMS, just like email, they're first-party channels. People are opting into them because they want to get them. And email is becoming a place for product discovery, checking out sales, right? So if I'm in a shopping mindset, I'm going to bounce over to my Gmail. I'm going to hit the promotions. I'm going to look for those brands. I'm going to see what sales are there, if there are any sales. But it is becoming a one-stop shop or one of these initial phases for brands to communicate with customers and customers to then discover either products or sales to start their shopping behavior. Though the one thing we've seen last year, and brands like Amazon and Walmart are really reaping the rewards from it. But we have global economic pressures. We're in a period of change over in the U.S. right now as the new administration is coming in, setting out new economic policies. Consumer confidence report came out just a day or two ago, and it's dropped multiple points on consumer confidence. And I think what we're going to see is kind of a pullback in spending this year, but we've seen this trend over the last year. We saw it during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You can see that in our BFCM report as well. But we're seeing the number of orders down, but average order value increase. And what that tells me, and this is we're seeing across the board, is consumers are spending. They're looking for value and they're consolidating purchases. And that's why we're seeing click to conversion rate go up. Once they find something they want to buy, they click and they go and convert it. And this is going to play in the SMS, because if we can get them to purchase with our brand via any channel, What we can do then is when we get that, we can find ways to increase the average order value. And I think this is really to be mindful of this year for brands that if consumers are spending with fewer number of orders or fewer businesses, that means there's less to go around, but you can get them to increase their average order value on your site. So those are the two things I look at from an email side. Automated email, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but really what you're looking at is the very top line are your scheduled campaign emails, 0.07% conversion rate. Every single automated email converts better than that. And we'll talk about some of these and how they relate to SMS today. So if you're not using automation, you should absolutely be using it. If you're not using specifics automation, notably welcome, browse abandonment, cart abandonment, and even maybe even back in stock here. You can see those work really well, but we'll tie that in. The thing to note about automated messages is they drive 37% of all email orders, and they only account for 2% of sends. So if you're using automation, you can potentially drive 37% of your sales via those messages. You're not doing anything, they're running in the background, and it's accounting for a very small portion of sends. So we want to maximize those. Shifting over to stats for SMS, and this is kind of why we're here and why you're maybe interested in SMS, is that it's just continuing to grow. It's been growing for 10 plus years, but really a few years ago hit that tipping point in the acceleration. That hockey stick is going up here. So 2 years ago, we saw a 60% increase in year over year sends. Last year, continued to go up 33%. So those are really large numbers here. Just US customers alone using Omnisend last year drove $25 million in SMS sales. And when we talk about consumer spending kind of slowing down, or the number of orders or number of brands they are shopping with, being able to capture those sales is really important. If you're missing out on the SMS side and it's not feeding those, someone else has the opportunity to jump on those and take those. So a really important part there. Then SMS automation, it's not 37% on 2% like we see with email, but it's still 2 to 1. Almost 20% of all orders from an SMS side are coming from automated SMS, and it's just under 10% of sends. So we can use automated messages to help us increase those sales and hopefully increase average order value there as well. You can see the metrics is because they're targeted, they're relevant, they're sent in a timely fashion, and most of these messages are sent at high intent stages of shopping journeys, right? Abandoning a shopping cart, consumers looking to purchase, browsing your website. Well, they're on your website for a reason, intent to purchase, you or someone else, right? So these are high intent stages, and that's why we're seeing click rates higher. We're seeing conversion rates much higher for those. And then finally, if you're looking for SMS as kind of an advantage, but you want to build up to it, and maybe Black Friday, Cyber Monday is the period you want to use it most or rely on, it can certainly help you there. So really what we're looking at is just kind of breaking it down for this past year, sends on the Sunday of Black Friday week, and that's going to be the Sunday before Black Friday. So it's kind of this period we call the Cyber 10. It starts that Sunday and goes through Giving Tuesday, a 10-day span there. It's usually the 10 best days of any company's holiday shopping season fits in there. And of course, Cyber Monday and Black Friday fit in that 10-day span. But we've been seeing the last couple of years, Black Friday deals start the entire week. Black Friday week is now a thing. That's Sunday before. We saw the same thing with the email as well, but 2x amount of sends. November sales, 4.5 million for US customers using Omnisend this year, just SMS. At high average order value is up over last year as well. And conversion rate increased during those times as well. Of course, people are shopping a lot. It's an expanded time, but even campaigns, right? Conversion rates went up. Automated messages, conversion rates went up. So if you're looking at nothing else and saying, okay, how do I grow my SMS list so that I can start using it to eke out a few more sales during Black Friday, Cyber Monday? Now is a good time for it, and this is a good reason why. All right, so let's talk about, we know why we want to get started with SMS. Let's talk about actually getting started with an SMS, and how we're going to do that is let's start by growing our list. So of course, the best way to do this is pop-ups, right? We probably have a pop-up sign up with your email on there. There's a couple of caveats here, but we provide these fields inside of Omnisend. I'll show you this later in the presentation today as we kind of do a walkthrough of the slides there, but really it's simple. Just ask people to sign up. And there's two ways you can do that. You can have a two-step form. You can have a one-step form. It doesn't really matter. I think whatever you're comfortable with doing, whatever fits your brand, is all that really matters here. So the two-step form is pretty simple. You can see the example there, but really all you're doing is asking someone to sign up for the email. They click and they go to the next step and says, hey, you could offer an additional 5%. You can just say, hey, want XYZ. Or, hey, would you also like to sign up for exclusive insider only deals via SMS? And just have that on a one-step form, just provide both fields for them. Now, here's the caveat, and I see people do this, or brands do this, I should say, all the time. And this is really the challenge here is make the SMS field optional. Don't make it required. Uh, Double check to make sure your settings there, because there's nothing more frustrating for me as a user that I want to sign up for your email program. I'm not ready to sign up for your SMS program, and you won't let me sign up for email because the mobile field is required. And at that point, I'm either going to throw in a junk number, which doesn't help the brand or help you at all, or I'm just going to abandon, and then you lose that contact information. So just make it optional. The other pet peeve I see is it's a two-step form. So enter my email address, and then it's like, hey, enter your mobile number. And if I don't enter the mobile number, I don't get the 10% off, or I'm not allowed to sign up for the email program. So it's a two-step form, although they make the second step required without really telling you. It's frustrated user experience, and I leave there. So here's what we do. Make the mobile number optional, and then you can see there's going to be legal compliance. You can see some of that fine print there. I'll show you how to do this, but you can just drag this over to your pop-up builder, select the type of legal compliance you want, and it's there for you. So pop-ups will be your number one way to grow your list. I always tell people, and they say, texting it spans generational cohorts. It's no longer a young person's game. Everybody uses it. My mother, who is not a technology adopter, she is a baby boomer. She is turning 70 next week. So she is signed up for marketing messages, and she does not like shopping online, but she signs up for them, and she does buy online from them. So it's a communication channel that every generational cohort uses. Lean into it. And I've told brands this for over 10 years, said if you include the pop-up, or if you include the mobile number on your pop-up and they don't sign up, it's your indication your audience isn't interested. If you put it there and they sign up, it's an indication they are. So let your audience tell you whether they're interested rather than having these preconceived notions. Now, a second way to grow your list outside of pop-ups is just promote it inside of your email. So when you launch it, have secondary or tertiary content inside of each of your emails. And you can do it with a graphic, you can have text, but at the very bottom of it, after you've finished all the main content or secondary content you want, you have this call out to, hey, sign me up. And you can take people to a landing page at that point. You can build those landing pages in Omnisend or however you want to do it. And just simply ask people to sign up in the email, because you're going to have a lot of people, especially if you're getting ready to launch the program, a lot of people who are unaware you have this. So it's just an extra way to kind of do this. I would also include those in your transactional messages. So your order and shipping confirmation messages, maybe they weren't ready then, they made the purchase, now they're ready. Give them that option there as well. So that's a good way. If you are planning on launching a program, maybe next week you launch a program, you can send a dedicated email to your audience and just say, hey, we're launching this program. Be sure to sign up for exclusive offers. And again, take them to that landing page. But I would do both of these, right? Put them in your emails and also put them in your pop-up. And that's going to be the best way to grow your list. It's not going to be rocket science. It's just taking the extra step to create something and make it available for people. And again, let them tell you whether they're interested in your program or not. All right, let's talk about campaigns. Let's say we got our pop-up going, we got some mobile numbers coming in, we're starting to grow our list. Let's talk about how to come up with content for campaigns and what we should be doing. And this is really where I see a lot of people kind of overthink this approach here. So I would always tell people reuse existing content. So every email marketing message you send has content that can be related to an SMS. It doesn't mean you need to send an SMS with every email. You certainly do not. But the content's there, and borrow past content as well. So if you look at an image, you might have 4 words of text in there, flash sale today only. Well, that's a perfect message. And I'll show you examples of a couple different types of SMS messages, but things that really stand out to customers and where brands typically use SMS the most with the most success. Exclusive offers. You always want to provide some exclusivity to your email program, to your SMS program. This is no exception. So, hey, SMS only subscribers, 10% off. all right, today only, whatever it might be. Flash sales, these are limited time sales. It could be 1 hour sales, it could be 1 day sales. Really good use cases for SMS because most SMS studies will tell you within 3 minutes, most SMSs are read by the recipient. Email, they could see it in 10 seconds, they could see it in 2 hours, they might not see it for a day. We don't really know because they either got to open up the app on their phone or do something. So with the text, the bubble is going to be in front of them. They're going to check it. So flash sales make tons of sense for brands to use. Last chance reminders, it's the same principle that goes into it. It is a timely message. And this is especially important during like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or these shopping seasons. We have Valentine's Day coming up. So any sort of holiday where you have these last minute gifts here, uh, these last chance reminders work. So instead of sending an email at 10 o'clock at night for a sale that expires at midnight, again, we don't know when people are necessarily seeing those. The SMS makes a lot more sense. Now, I wouldn't always recommend sending 10 p.m. SMS messages to people, but you get the idea here, right? We can send those last chance reminders. Might be a smaller pool of audience, but it's an engaged audience via channel that they've opted into. Uh, Early access, all right, this is exclusivity. So, hey, sale's going to start in 3 hours. Jump on now. Here's a promo code you can use, or we made it available only via this link, right? So it's just a way to kind of tease it a little bit, but you can provide some exclusivity by making it specific to them. We saw the back in stock with the email, right? The conversion rates were astronomical for those. Now, full disclosure, we send a lot of them, but we send much fewer back in stock emails than we do the other ones. It's just not every brand uses them, but they work extremely well. Now, you don't have to have automated back in stock for SMS. You can, but you don't have to. But think about the value that back in stock has. It relies on a lot of social proof, and social proof is a great concept to put in these messages. They're back in stock because they sold out once, so we know people like them. They're customer favorites. You put a little sense of urgency or FOMO with back in stock. Hey, they sold out once, they might again. So even if you have, say, new products come in, or you have just another shipment of products, and they're not necessarily back in stock, but they kind of are, you could just send an SMS to people and, hey, top sellers back in stock, check them out, and utilize that sense of urgency and social proof together in SMS messages. I'll talk about automations here in a minute, but automations are going to be critical for you. We know they convert better. We know they drive a lot of sales. Let's use them to our advantage and capitalize those. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. And of course, you can always drive the email. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, think about something where you might have 20 different offers on certain products, and the email is the best way to convey that. Well, you can send an email or an SMS to people that you know are subscribed to both. Be like, hey, check out all our Black Friday, Cyber Monday offers. More, you can always click here, but more details in your inbox, right? And drive people over there. So there's different ways to use it. And then finally, I would tell you, you can help replace or offset your email unsubscribe. So people are going to unsubscribe from email programs. It's the nature of the beast. They're going to opt out of your SMS messages. That's okay. You want that. It helps keep your list clean. But here's the thing. Some people decide that, yeah, email is not my jam. I don't check it enough, but SMS is. I just want fewer messages, but I want the timely ones right there. So uh, typically, someone unsubscribes from email. What do? You take that email address, you create lookalike audiences. If you do paid social media, those ads tend to be a lot more expensive. You're retargeting that way. Well, if I'm unsubscribed for email and I'm still signed up for SMS, you've got a much lower cost way to market to me via first party channel that's timely, can hopefully reduce your retargeting costs as well. And you know it converts really well. So it's just a different way to kind of skin a cat. Plus, you have all their purchase history, their engagement, their web activity synced up as well from the email. So there's a lot you can do with that. So that would be my sales pitch for ways we can use SMS. Now let's spend a minute. Let's look at a couple examples and just kind of talk through them before we start going through the Omnisend account and create some of these things. So flash sales, last chance reminders. The thing I would point you to here is these messages are not overly complex. And typically, you're going to have 160 characters or fewer to send the messages. Now, I can't talk today. This is great. But if you send an MMS message, which is just a fancy way of saying an image along with a message, that expands here. But every image will count as a separate message. So just be mindful when you get to a pricing that 2 messages instead of 1. those things here. But you can see these things are very clear. So uh, best practices is what I'm looking at. You put your brand first, right? Or make the brand very recognizable. So you can see these Joe Love, Lavender Life, Bow Ties of Vermont, Foldies. The brand name is right up front, so they know exactly who the message is coming from. And just tell them what you want, right? I said this to my kids all the time. I say it to my wife. We talk about it. I say, just tell me what you want, right? Clear as day, and let's cut through the noise. So, hey, flash sale, 40% off, 80% off with this. Here's a link, and we've got our legal disclaimer, which we'll stick in there for you as well. Sometimes I cut these off just for example's sake. But you can be very clear with them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about these things. Just tell them what you want and use enticement. With images or MMS, I would advise people to, no, you do not have to send images with every SMS. I would not advise you to send images with every message you send. I look at images where they add value. So can you communicate something in a much more visual way, clearly in the message, and will it add value to the message you send? So maybe you have a longer SMS message you want to convey to people, but you want that just to provide context, but you want that message to quickly convey the main thing. Well, then it might be an instance, or maybe you've got a new product drop and you want to showcase that product. Then it might make sense. Outside of that, I would save them for the times where it really matters. Don't need to send an image with every single message. Early access, new arrivals. Here's a couple different ways to do that as well. New arrivals, again, we just talked about using images, and that might make sense to do so at that point. But again, we can see kind of the examples here. We have the brand name first, we have the quick message, we have a hyperlink in there taking them where they need to go, and we have images when the images might matter the most for them. So early access, new arrivals. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. You can go back, look at the recording, look at the examples, and just kind of fit them to your own brand and products. But go back to your old emails. And I'm sure you've sent an early access email before, a new rival email before, and you have the text, you have the content already created. Just beg, borrow, and steal from there. Make your lives a lot easier. Now, back in stock. We talked about back in stock a little bit before. I love back in stock messages. These could be really good for image usage as well because you want to convey certain products. Again, you don't need to, uh, but you can see what they do here, right? The second example, hey, our number one suit is back. It's a bestseller. So number one, they're using a lot of social proof here, but they're also offering, best-selling colors and stuff. But you know, the fear of missing out, the sense of urgency, the social proof combined here. I love messages like this. So if you have an opportunity to use back in stock, I'll be honest with you, you could even make up that they're back in stock. No one's monitoring your inventory levels here a little bit. So you got a top seller and you want to push that, or maybe you have an underseller that you want to push to try to clear out inventory. Hey, back in stock, here you go, and just try to generate a little buzz that way as well. So these are great to use just from a campaign standpoint, not necessarily an automation standpoint. But you get the idea here. These messages are not overly complex, and we just kind of walk through and just build out messages that are going to resonate to people. Do you need to send an SMS if you are, I don't know, it's a random Tuesday and you don't have anything going on? No, make them valuable. You want to punch your weight with these things. So those are just a couple examples of different types of messages. The list I gave before, not all inclusive. You can send any type of SMS message, any type of text. I would just say, does it add value to the recipient? And if the answer is yes, have at it. Have some fun with it. And you do have the ability to be a little more casual with SMS. So use emojis, have some fun, use language you might not otherwise use as long as it fits your brand voice. But people are receptive to that with SMS. So that's the best part about it. You could be a little more creative than maybe you otherwise would. Talk about automation here for a second. So we know automation is going to outperform our campaigns. Here's what I would just say. Don't overthink it, right? Look at those high performing automated series. And those are specifically welcome messages. Those are specifically product abandonment or browse abandonment. If you're using those, if you're not, I would highly encourage you to use those. Shopping cart abandonment, and of course, back in stock if you have them. And of course, post purchase. I think there's an opportunity for post purchase with SMS as well here. So look at the email automation you have. and then figure out ways SMS can fit into that. Welcome message makes tons of sense. If they're signing up for a brand new program, of course we want to send them a welcome email. If they're signing up for a brand new SMS program, of course we want to send them a text message. Hey, welcome to the SMS Club. Glad you're here. If you offer an incentive for signing up, give them the incentive there, give them a coupon code, whatever you want to do. If not, just welcome them. Be on the lookout for more text, and reply stop, opt out at any time. But we can fit these in automation. I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but figure out where they make the most sense. You know, uh, Browse abandonment. I love these things because they're timely. Again, I'm on the website. Keep in mind that SMS is quicker than email, at least from a red standpoint. So you can balance your timing here. Think about shopping cart abandonment or something. Maybe that one wants to go a little bit quicker, or you send an email a little quicker to give recipients more time to see it, and the SMS just kind of waits there. Play around with this, check metrics, and go there. And again, we talk about reducing paid retargeting costs. So if they're on the website and they leave, most people do. How are we retargeting them? And then will SMS or email or both help reduce those costs and make it more effective for us? So those are the things I would think about with automation. Here's just a couple examples. The one on the left here is a welcome message here. So, hey, this is what you're signing up for. New product releases, news, exclusive discounts, and then here's a coupon code to shop. You could see shopping cart abandonment in the middle here. Sorry, my eyes aren't focused well right now. So we have shopping cart available. We have browse abandonment. And then on the right-hand side, you can see a little post-purchase. So post-purchase means a lot of different things. It could be transactional, order confirmations, shipping confirmations. People do love those text messages, but they could also be thank you messages. Hey, Greg, thanks for your making your first purchase with us. We're so glad to have you part of the family. Be sure to check out your order details here. Maybe you link to an FAQ page. Maybe you link to whatever they're buying, product care or something like that. You could do a check-in SMS message after the first purchase. Hey, Greg, thanks for being a loyal customer, right? So glad to have you back. Be on the lookout for your new arrival, right? So you can use automation to help foster that engagement with people. And this is really where you want to use it. It's going to be the same principles you use in email for. Same reasons, different channel. And I just want to walk through a customer success for you. So this is a company that initially was skeptical of using text messages and like, well, email's doing really well for us. We do paid social, which you could still do paid social, nothing against it. It's a good channel. But they're like, people don't want text messages. And this is the narrative that we've been fighting for 10 years. But we still face it. And now you can see the success they're having. So 7% of their revenue is coming from just SMS campaigns, and 54% is coming from automations. And we're combining these things. But look at the shopping cart abandonment on the right side. So we're seeing, what is that, about 20% of shopping cart abandonment revenue coming from SMS. So what happens if they don't send SMS? Well, if they don't send it, chance some of those people, yes, will convert via email or will naturally come back. Will all of them? Probably not. Right. So again, they're probably doing paid retargeting or their competitors are capturing that sale. When the competitors capture the sale, they have a chance to engage a customer and create loyalty out of them. Now, a couple side things not mentioned here. Within 8 months, this brand saw 70,000 subscribers to their SMS program. So highly engaged audience there. SMS is obviously the channel that resonates really well with them. They drove over $120,000 in sales in that 8-month period just from SMS. And they had 13,000. This is to me most importantly, 13,000 SMS only subscribers. So ones that chose to do SMS and not email, and that's okay too. So we talked about making mobile number an optional field based on how you're collecting it. You can always make email an optional field along with mobile an optional field and let people choose which channels they want. Those are 13,000 names that they would have had to do traditional customer acquisition strategies and cost to spend to get there. And now they have a first party channel to communicate with them. So those are really important takeaways, in my opinion, about why to do it, test it out, and see if it's right for you or optimize here. So with all that being said, I want to jump around to, I'm going to kind of poke around an Omnisend account, just kind of walk you through the basics of it. Of course, a gentle reminder for you, we have 24/7 customer support. They can also walk you through this. We have knowledge-based articles if you want to do just some offline stuff as well. So, okay, let me make some room here. So let's start with pop-ups here. So we can go to our forms in our account. And of course, you can create a form. We'll just create a form here. You can just kind of browse at your leisure. We can do email and SMS. We can filter these for you as well. So let me zoom out a little bit. And let me just pick one here. So let's use, we want a one step or two step. What do we want to do here? Anyone want to throw it in the chat? All right, I'm going to choose one step. Do two step, I'll go back to it. So one step form, we can always add those here, but really this one's going to be pre-built for you. Email address, mobile number, we can set our default mobile number here. We'll have this compliance here for you. And we have our basic settings for pop-ups. I'm not going to go through all the settings here, but you can always build your own form as well. So right down here, we've got our compliance sections here. So legal consent right up here. And really what we want to do is just drag that over. And I'm just going to ruin the form here. But you can see we have our legal consent. This is going to be a GDPR one, but you can just toggle here to TCPA if you want, and we'll change that for you. So you can toggle back and forth here. Pretty straightforward for what you want to do. And then for the field here, this is the one thing that people forget to check, and this is the add field or add label and then field required. So if you uncheck that, you make it an optional field. You can always label this if you want, and then like, hey, create a label, and we can see what we're doing up here. So you can add some custom language if you want to. Obviously, we have options for where we want to display this, and then we have our default country if you want. Obviously, we collect from just about every country. So you can select your default for however you want, and that's it. So same thing here. If you want to make your email an optional field and just make them both, you just field required and make those changes. So you can see pretty straightforward with how you want to do it. And then these are all just basic settings on the forms if you've used pop-up forms before, but everything here is customizable. You can subscribe, and then you can always add an option if you want to do a two-step as well. So you can do a second step and just kind of create your own. So we can get rid of this one here and then create the second step for mobile number there if you want to. So pretty straightforward for you. And then you can kind of customize however you want to do it. The rest of these settings, I'm not going to walk through them necessarily, but you kind of choose how you want to do it, and then how you want to have this displayed. So time on the page, right? We could do, give me 3 seconds on the page, and you're all set. So it's that simple. You just really just dragging fields over and setting the compliance how you want and making those fields optional versus required, however you want to do that. Down here as well, right? Optional, and that's it. So that's going to work for a pop-up form. You can see how simple that is. And of course, you can always do if you want to, I'm not going to walk through it, but landing page, right? So we talked about creating a landing page for people that, maybe you have that secondary content in your emails. Hey, sign up for a text or SMS program. They click, they go to landing page. So you can just create your own landing page. It's going to be the kind of the same builder we just looked at. Pretty straightforward for you. And it's that simple. As far as creating campaigns go, just like you would create an email campaign, you're going to create a campaign and you're going to see an SMS option. And you just simply create your SMS message, give it a name. So I've got one password. Thanks for showing that to everyone. We'll do, Greg test here, 10% off V-Day. Sender's name. Now you can put your sender's name. So I'll just do Greg rules. We actually know that's not true. So what we're going to do is in the US and Canadian recipients, you're going to see a phone number we send from here, the shared number. For non-US customers, this is where your brand name, sender's name goes. So if it doesn't apply to you, just put your brand name in there and you're fine. If it does, great. And here's the option is, let's just do, Greg rules. Flash. So I'm doing text only. No, I'm not. And my typing is terrible. If anyone has attended these before, you'll know that. Flash sale starts now. Today only, 15% off. with code Greg. Uh, and that's really all you have to do. You could throw some emojis on there if you want. So yeah, do that. Got time. Now, emojis, you'll get a warning down here. Special characters, they will add to the length and do things like that. So it would just kind of give you the idea of what it looks like. And then you always have customizable options here. So these are all things that you can insert, like first name. So if you want to link to your website, you could just do that. And this message is looking horrible. We'll fix this up. So we'll automatically append the website, but you could also do things like first name in there if you collect that information. Uh, abandoned carts, things like this, and then you'll get your warnings there. To add an image, you can simply just hit select file here, add an image, you upload one, use one that's already in your account. Pretty straightforward for you. And then we have the ability to automatically shorten links for you. So if you type in a link here that's long, we'll shorten that to a short code. And then here's your unsubscribe option. So we'll automatically apply a reply stop at the end there, and then we'll link that to an unsubscribe link form as well if you have that. So that's really about it. And then when you get to the next step, you can choose to send to all subscribers. You can choose to send to all and exclude segments. So if you have people that maybe purchased in the last 4 days and you want to exclude them, create that segment, exclude them, or you can just manually choose your own segments you want to send to. So SMS, non-purchasers or never purchasers or whatever. So, and then you hit next step and you're ready to go. So, uh, you know, you'll get the option based on where your audience is, right? It's going to tell you the cost of your campaign. So you can see the cost of the campaigns of the contacts we have in here in the different countries. So you have an idea before you send it what your cost is going to be and how many credits you have. So we make everything very simple for you. We try to make it no surprises popping up there, but that's really all you need uh, to do that. And then you'll need to verify a phone number. We have not verified ours because I don't know, we're having fun over here. So, but we walk you through everything pretty simply. If you hit any roadblocks, have any questions about any of this stuff, use your live chat to contact our support and we'll get you going there. So that's really it. Don't overthink the messages, right? We beg, borrow, and steal. And then from an automation standpoint, you can add these to an existing automation, or for this instance, we'll just create a new workflow. So, uh, we'll just do this and do a welcome workflow for the sake of it, but uh, pretty simple and straightforward for you. So we've got our welcome set up, whatever your automation is. All the thing you'll need to look at is we have the SMS, the different channels on the left-hand side here. So what we can do is if you want to send an SMS to a welcome recipient, you could do that, right? And then you're going to go through the same process with building your message. So you have your text here, you have all your compliance things, and you're good to go. So uh, and that's it. And then of course you can add delays, you can add splits if you want to do one specific path with different timing and messages for your SMS only people, and then an email path for only your email people. Now it's good to note here that if you have a single workflow, the question would be, well, what if, right, we sign up, they don't opt into the SMS? What's going to happen to the recipient? Do we send them an SMS anyways if we happen to have it on file, but they're not opted in, or do they end here? So really what we do is we just pass on that person to the next node. And it's quite that simple. So really what you're looking at is someone signs up, you have two different people that sign up. One opted into your SMS, one did not opt into the SMS. And when you get here, this will send to the person who opted in. If they did not opt in, it'll just skip them and then continue on with this flow here. So you don't need to create two separate workflows, one with SMS and one without SMS. You just manually push people through, but you can create different paths if you want to change delays for people. So really customizable for how you want. And that's probably more applicable for things like shopping cart abandonment. So if we have someone abandons the shopping cart and then we have an email sending at 1 hour, maybe we want to send the SMS at 30 minutes, right? Or 15 minutes, but you're okay with email only people getting the email in an hour. So just add the channels as you want to add them to, and we'll make the workflow work for you. And that's the beauty of it. You can always go back and change things. You can create and customize as much as you want to. And it's that simple. And that's all you really need to do for setting these up in Omnisend and really taking advantage of them. So with that being said, if anyone has any questions for me, feel free to let me know. But you can see how simple it is. And again, remind people that we have 24/7 support that can help you set these up and walk through it, answer the questions you might have related to this. So just kind of breaking down it, getting started with SMS type thing. It is growing fast. It's a preferred channel. It's a ubiquitous channel. Everyone's using it now. Let them tell you whether they are interested in SMS or not. Always make the mobile number field optional. You can make the email optional as well, but always make that optional. Don't force people into signing up. Not going to be good for you. Don't give them a bad user experience. Just let those who want to come in, invite them on in. Let those who want to stay outside, stay outside. Nothing wrong with it. Always put your brand name first when you're sending the messages. Let people know. Keep it short and sweet so you don't need to overthink, overanalyze anything with your text messages. They're made to be short. And then use images or MMS when it adds value. You don't need to use them all the time. You don't need to ever use them if you don't want to. And certainly you do not need to send SMSs with every single email you send. So if you're sending 5 emails a week, great. I would not personally send 5 SMS a week. You might want to send 1. Use it for a very important time. So that would be my advice for you on that one. So with all that being said, hopefully you found something in here useful for you today. It got you a good baseline to kind of get started. Always feel free to reach out to us. Let's shoot over to Q&A. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab as well, or just use the chat and let me know good stuff here. So let's see. If abandoned cart automation, there will be no SMS sent if the person is not opted in to pop-up window, right? If they're not, so Jacob, thanks for the question. If they are not opted into your SMS program, they will not be sent that message. You're correct. So let me try to shoot over here real quick. Ooh. So we'll just pretend instead of a welcome, this is a cart abandonment. So they abandon a cart and we're going to wait a minute, and we can always customize it. We'll just say an hour here. So we're going to wait an hour and then we're going to send the abandoned cart messages. So if I'm an email only subscriber and I get to this SMS node, it's going to look and say, okay, this person's not opted into SMS. Skip over this node and let's move to the next one. And that'll be the email one. And that will send to me. So you're 100% correct. It will not send to them unless they are opted into your SMS program. Now, they could have opted in through a landing form. They could have opted in through another type of form or a different channel. You could have imported them, whatever the case might be. As long as that opt-in is valid, the consent is valid, it'll send to them. If the consent is not valid, then it will skip over them, correct? And that's the beauty of it. You can customize kind of however you see fit. Whoop. I go back here. So great question, Jacob. Thank you very much for asking and for being attentive. Any other questions before we kind of close off here about getting started with SMS, maybe concerns with SMS that we can maybe talk through a little bit if you have any of those, but I want to be available and open for you. Otherwise, we'll hit the recording. You can always find me on LinkedIn or Blue Sky if you need to. So we'll give it, I don't know, 20 seconds. Feel free to throw while we're waiting for any questions to come in. Feel free to throw your favorite drinks on there if you haven't already yet. So. All right, I don't see any questions coming in, so hopefully didn't overwhelm you. Hopefully everything was great. Gentle reminder, thank you for your time today. Please contact our support. Should you need anything, we are happy to help you. We pride ourselves on that. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn or Blue Sky if you have any questions, or anyone else here at Omnisend. We are a super friendly crew for you. So thank you for your time. Happy marketing. Good luck and success to you. And until next time, we'll see you.